I suppose the big question about the arrival of this, the new Toyota C-HR, is exactly how it's taken Toyota so long to realise how many people want a compact crossover or SUV. I mean, Toyota effectively invented the segment back in the early 90s with the original RAV4, but with the current RAV4 having grown up and become much more expensive, it's left that crucial middle ground, that space between hatchbacks and SUVs, open to the likes of Nissan with the Qashqai, Renault with the Kadjar, and so many others to swoop in, score points, score sales, and rack up some big success. Well, Toyota's making up for lost time now because this is the new CHR. This does slot between the Auris and the RAV4 in terms of size, in terms of price. And it is also a critical car for Toyota. Not only is it only the second model to be based on its very important Toyota new generation architecture chassis, the first was the new Prius, but it's also a car which sets out Toyota's stall for the next few years. The fact that Toyota is moving away from its previous image as safe and just a touch dull into something much more radical, much more stylish, much more exciting. I know, this is a mainstream Toyota and we're talking about it being exciting. And the thing is, we really can. For a start, the styling is really quite avant-garde, certainly by Toyota standards and really by any standard. That sloping roofline, the swept-up rear. Now, there are compromises in that, which we'll come to in a minute, but this is a really fundamentally good-looking car. Now, underneath, as we said, is that new generation architecture chassis, and it makes the car exceptionally stiff, exceptionally strong, and surprisingly agile. The lead engineer on this car is a racing driver in his spare time, and it was his decision to actually enter the CHR into the legendary Nürburgring 24 Hours endurance race last year, in which it finished. And by the way, this was the 1.2 litre turbo petrol, not enormously modified, but it finished 84th out of 160 starters. That's not bad going. Now, this isn't the 1.2. This is the one we're driving here is the hybrid, and it uses the same 1.8 litre petrol engine and battery and electric motor as you'll find in the new Prius. And it claims to be able to do 70-odd miles to the gallon. Now, to be honest, I think it's going to struggle to do that, but you should be able to get 50, maybe even 60 out of it pretty easily. The CHR's big trump card, though, is here in the interior because it is gorgeous. Not only is it gorgeous, it's incredibly well made. It feels so unlike any Toyota current product. It feels much more like someone in the Toyota design office stuck their heads out the door, yelled down to their colleagues in Lexus and said, "Oi, come and do us an interior, lads." This is a seriously lovely place in which to spend time. And it's very well equipped as well. Even the basic €26,895 model comes with this big 8-inch central touchscreen, which works. It doesn't have Apple CarPlay and it doesn't have Android Auto. It does work very well with your smartphone, it has to be said. But again, it's that sense of quality, that lovely touchy-feely sensations that you get all around the cabin. Great seats, beautiful use of materials, these diamond-cut designs where even the buttons and the cutouts in the roof and the lights and the door panels are all shaped to look like diamond facets, which is what Toyota have done to the exterior. But here's where you'll find the compromise. It's a 377-litre boot, only about the same as that of an Auris. And while Toyota says that space in the rear seats is the same as you'd get in a Qashqai or a Kadjar, it doesn't feel it. Headroom is quite tight, although as a 6-footer I can fit back there. But the problem is the way the side glass sweeps up just takes away the light and the sense of airiness and spaciousness. Frankly, the kids probably aren't going to like it very much back there. The thing is, though, that you will like it sitting up the front because, and again, we're talking about a mainstream, medium-priced Toyota here, this thing is really, really good to drive. Now, the steering is a little bit light and I wouldn't quite describe it as woolly, but it's not, doesn't have that fantastic connection to the front wheels that you get from some rival products, notably Ford products. But beneath that, this TNGA chassis is fantastic. It's been set up by Toyota to feel pliant and compliant, particularly around town where it's very good at dealing with things like speed bumps. And although that allows a certain amount of body roll on the open road, the way this car stitches together a series of corners is really quite something. Now, the 1.2 turbo petrol is probably, in fact definitely, the better all-round model than the hybrid, because the extra 60 kilos of the hybrid system really makes a noticeable difference in terms of ride quality and in terms of overall chassis deportment. If you really do enjoy your driving and you want a Toyota C-HR, make sure you get the 1.2 petrol. It has just about enough power and torque to make itself useful. If you live in town and if fuel economy is really your thing, or if low emissions are really your thing, then fair enough. Do look at the hybrid. It suffers from the same old CVT issue that all Toyota hybrids have, where it lets the engine rev too long and too high and too noisily for too much of the time. But if you drive it in the way it needs to be driven, you can potentially get some extremely good economy out of it. And around town with the automatic transmission, it's very relaxing and very pleasant to get about in. Toyota, I think, may be in danger of scaring off some of their older, more traditional customers with this. So sharp and so stylish is it. But for the rest of us, this could be a genuine breakthrough for the Japanese brand. Excitement from a mainstream Toyota.